Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to be talking about something that honestly really frustrates me. So when a product is trying to be really innovative and trying to do something a bit different and push the whole industry forward, then realistically we should all cheer with open arms, look how excited we are and embrace the new technology. But unfortunately it doesn't always work like that. You see, no matter what, when the industry is trying to go in a certain direction and it's difficult for the rest of the industry to follow, then we start to get friction. And this is where friction's coming about. I'm talking about the introduction of things like spaces or envelopes or pockets. All these different names that have been generated for when bank accounts are starting to create innovative new ideas where they're able to work with you as a business owner and hide money away for you. Let's use our friends over at Starling as an example. They create a business account and they gave you the option to be able to put a space in there. But those spaces don't work well with the things like QuickBooks Online. So I've created this video to make sure that you know how to create your QuickBooks Online in the right way. I've created this video to make sure that you know how to create QuickBooks Online in the right way to make sure that you make the most out of spaces. Roll that intro. Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Aaron Patrick. I am a chartered accountant, a certified UK trainer, fancy new logo, that QuickBooks chap on the internet over here, and also head of accounts here at Boffix. Now in today's video, we're going to be talking about the wonderful world of spaces and how spaces work within QuickBooks Online. Or more to the point, how they don't normally work with QuickBooks Online and how we just need to tweak the way that we deal with them to make them work on your benefit. Picture the scene. I've started a new bank account with the likes of someone like Starling. I'm utilising their spaces technology, which is in reality the ability for you to go and put money into different individual sub-accounts. Think of it as a savings account, but instead of having to create a new savings account for each and every one, you just have to create a space instantly and then be able to put money in there. Well, this opens up a whole world of benefits. The idea that you could save away for individual pots. Maybe you've got a new piece of equipment you're trying to save for, new space. Maybe you'd always want to save for your taxes, new space. Maybe not just taxes, but you want to go VAT, corporation tax, PAYE, space, space, space. You can go all the way. I want to make sure that the money I've just received from this grant goes to the right thing. Let's put it in a space. I want to make sure I've got enough money to be able to pay my staff at the end of a month. Put that money into a space. And from a business point of view, this is amazing. And as business advisors, we absolutely love this feature, giving you the power as a business owner to be able to put money into each and every space that you need to. But with great power comes great responsibility. And that responsibility is the fact that QuickBooks Online and all the other software out there doesn't quite work well with spaces. And it's not QuickBooks' fault, it's the bank's fault for how they're dealing with them. Because in reality, it sounds like you're creating a new account and moving the money into the account. Sounds good, right? But you're not. What's actually happening is the main account is being carved up and it's being put into some pot here and a pot there and a pot there and a pot here. And then the idea is that when you're in QuickBooks Online, is you see your main account because that's the one you care about, and then all the other pots are all connected somehow. So it's starting to get a little bit complicated. Then you throw in the fact that as accountants and business advisors, we care about the idea of reconciling your bank. So we're going to ask for you to provide a bank statement. You're going to provide a bank statement and then not going to agree with what's in QuickBooks. That's because QuickBooks is showing or being told what's happening in the main account. It doesn't know what's happening in those pots that are all around it. And furthermore, not only do those pots or spaces all have their own balances, but all of those balances come all together to form the main account that you've got. And suddenly you're in a whole load of confusion and complexity in a solution that is actually very, very pro-consumer. Great for the end customer. So my challenge is to make sure that we set QuickBooks up in the right way so that we can benefit from these pots, so that we can make the most out of it. And then I'm going to give you some practical tips to make sure that you are making the most out of the pots as well. Because without a doubt, pots, spaces, whatever you're going to call them, is a great thing, and it's something we want to embrace more of, but we need to set up QuickBooks in the right way to do it. Let's have a look. So let's go to my bank account. Jumping into the bank account, you'll notice I've got a Starling account, £205.29, £12,205.29. And I have this thing here called taxes. Well, first of all, that's probably on me. I've called it taxes because that's what I'm keeping my savings for, but it does make it a little bit more tricky. Is that me paying taxes? Is that me putting taxes into the spaces? And actually, if I look at it, it is actually me putting taxes into my spaces. So what I want to be doing here is I want to record as transfer, transfer to an account, add new, and I want to call it spaces taxes. Save and close. Now I know that when I add this transaction, everything's going to start coming back to normal. But how can I make that easier on myself? Well, let's look at this transaction. This time I called it spaces VAT. So in your Starling account, when you do that spaces and you create the new account, call it spaces. That way, now I can see I've got spaces VAT next to it. So when that transaction comes into the thing, let's have a look. In this case, I'm being really frugal. I've made a sale, it had £900 of VAT on it. Now I want to transfer that over. Because I've called it spaces VAT, it's super simple for me to know that what that relates to. That needs to be record as transfer, add new, create spaces VAT. Save and close. I can even take this one step further. Create a rule. Name that spaces VAT. And every time it sees spaces VAT, it transfers us to my spaces VAT account. Press save. Okay, we're starting to get here. Let's do a couple of others. Here's an example of where QuickBooks can sometimes not quite help you. In this case, I did create a spaces called Spaces Sony FX3, but it's only in my bank detail. So in this situation, again, I want to record as transfer, spaces FX3, which is a Sony camera. Save and close. But again, let's create the rule, but this time round, spaces Sony camera. But this time round, because I'm saving for this one, it's going to have to look at my bank text. Spaces Sony FX3. Now, next time that it sees that, it's then going to transfer it automatically. And then you have ones like this one. I'm putting a save in for a grant. I've received a grant, 1,500. Record as transfer. Create the rule. Create a spaces. Grant. Spaces grant. Save. Create a rule. Spaces. Grant. Transfer. Job done. And because I've called it spaces first, it makes it really easy to identify the transactions that are just my moving out the spaces. I can then do it to here as well. But remember, because now this is me doing it the way around, I need to create another rule, spaces, grant, money out. You see, the thing is, the danger is if you don't identify the spaces, then you could accidentally put them as an expense or an income into your business. That taxes or that Sony FX3, what about if I accidentally recorded that as a new capital asset or me paying my taxes when actually I haven't physically paid them, I've just moved them to a different pot. That's why calling the space as a space or a pot or whatever you want to distinguish them as, then you're going to be in a better position. So that's your first tip. Now though, everything looks okay. £205.29 in my bank and in QuickBooks, everything's all balanced. If I go and have a look at my reports, balance sheet, I've got all these different pots. I've got petty cash, don't care about in this one. I've got my normal Starling account, £205.29. Spaces for my VAT, spaces for my Sony, spaces for my taxes, and spaces for that grant. If I look at the grant in a little bit more detail, I've got money coming in and money going out. And then in principle, if I get my phone out, then these spaces here should relate to the spaces there. Okay, that's all working quite well. And my Starling account, the amount that's left in the bank that I'm using as my cash, well, that sits there as well. And again, from a business point of view, this is amazing. Look at this principle here. I know that after I've got all my money scurried away for all the things that could happen, I've got £205.29. If I'd left all the money into one pot, I could be worried to think I've actually got £12,000 to spend. Now for cash flow forecasting and things like this is brilliant for the business. And again, this is where we should be encouraging people to use spaces more often. And so far, other than the fact that you could accidentally allocate any of these transactions to the wrong thing, so maybe I've accidentally put them to buying the camera or paying my taxes, then as long as I'm really careful about that, then so far so good, right? Not quite. Because the thing to remember is if I go back to that banking area, the banking screen, and have a look at the categorise and have a look at this Sony, for example, this £500 that I've scurried away into my little savings account to buy a new camera later down the line for my business, well, that transaction doesn't actually exist. And one of the things we always talk about here on the channel is it's so important that we reconcile our bank account. So if I jump into accounting, jump to reconcile, get started. Remember what reconcile is? Well, we grab our bank statement and we match it to QuickBooks and then we get a nice green tick. So if I go, let's get reconciled, jump into my Starling account, get my ending balance per my bank statement. So I go to here, I go to Starling, I go to statement and documents, statement history, current month to date, and I get a PDF of it. I might even want it certified. And then I can export accordingly. And remember, our whole idea here is we want the balance at the end of the day to go into this figure here and start reconciling. But this is where I get a huge problem. You see, I've ticked everything. My balance is £11,900 out. Quite significant. Not just something I could just easily just write off and hope for the best. My balance in Starling says one thing, but this is telling me another. And that's where the big problem lies. You're going to get this mismatch. We can't reconcile these figures as accountants. We get frustrated. You as a client get frustrated because you're not getting the right information that you need. That's where setting up QuickBooks in the right way is going to help you. Watch how I did it. At the top up here it says reconcile Starling account. Let's use that as the example of what it is we want to reconcile. Reconcile Starling account. I'm going to go to accounting and I'm going to go to chart of accounts. From here I'm going to see your chart of accounts and I'm going to go and create a new cash at bank in hand and call it reconcile Starling account. Save and close. Now here's the trick. Reconcile Starling account will now become my main account. And I'm going to go into the Starling account, which is the one that I've got connected to my bank. I'm going to go in, edit it, and make this a sub-account of Starling, reconcile Starling account. Save and close. Now this feels weird to people because normally what you'd expect to do is you'd expect your main account to be the main account that's connected and then everything else to be the sub-account. But in this case, we're going to create an account that we're never going to post anything to. We're going to call it our reconcile Starling account. Look what happens when I do the rest. So now let's go and get those other ones and then quickly make them also sub-accounts. And then the structure looks like this. Reconcile Starling is our main account, our spaces are below, and our Starling account, the main one that's got connected to the bank with equivalently £205.29p, is sat here by itself, still connected, but part of this reconcile Starling account. Because this is what's actually happened. If I then go to my reports, have a look at my balance sheet, have a look what's happened, then my reconcile Starling account, full amount is £12,105.29, which is the amount in my bank. as I drop it down, it shows what they're split into, which includes that Starling account, the main account, £205.29. The beauty of doing it this way is that when I go back to my banking screen and banking, I haven't affected this balance. If I was to do it the other way around and make the main account and then have sub-accounts below, then in QuickBooks figure here will be 12,000 something pound, which isn't quite right in my case. In my case though, this is how I want it to be. I could reconcile those spaces account back into my reports, balance sheet. I could reconcile them by getting my phone out, going to that spaces account and taking the information from there. But that's an extra step. And also now when I go to my bank account again, bring my bank account up, get that figure, go to reconcile. But this time I reconcile my reconcile Starling account, take the figure that I should be reconciling to, putting in my ending date, and start reconciling. Now at this point, I need to tick all of my transactions, say yes, select all, and then suddenly I've finally reconciled. Let's have a look what's happened. I've got my normal transactions going through my bank, but then towards the bottom here, you can see what's happening with my spaces. Every time a space account comes in, I've got a corresponding transaction with it, because ultimately that's what's realistically happened. We haven't moved it to another bank account, we just allocated the main bank to a different area. And that's what this has replicated. So I'm able to say how much is in my certified bank statement, £12,105.29. I can finish now, reconcile my account, get that green tick that everyone wants, go back to my banking, still have my bank connected, interacting nicely, always coming back to the nice £205.29, £205. Those are balancing as well. But when I run my reports, I go to my balance sheet, then I have this wonderful breakdown of how that's accounted for. And I can use my phone or my account on Starling to be able to agree that I have £500 left in my grant, £10 a pound in my taxes, £500 towards my new camera, £900 in my VAT account, leaving me £205.29 unaccounted for. And the key is to use sub-accounts, but not sub-accounts of the main account, but you create your own reconcile Starling account at the top. That reconcile Starling account you will never post anything to. That will never get posted, never have any interaction. It's only designed to be there to be the total of the rest of the sub-account. So that way you can split all your spaces and crucially still have a main account, in my case Starling account, that you're going to be using for that crucial bank feed. Then all the money goes into the bank feed, everyone keeps happy, you can still use all the benefits of QuickBooks by having that data coming in, creating rules so you can go to all the different spaces, but then you're still going to have that ability to be able to reconcile back to the true amount in QuickBooks. To me, this is the best way of dealing with it. It's a little bit frustrating that we've kind of got to jump through a few hoops, but they're hoops well worth doing because the end result is exactly how we want it to be. Working with that innovation, give the opportunity to work with the banks, to work with how they are implementing, but still giving us the chance to be able to make sure that we can have that nice big green tick to say that everything's okay. Let me know in the comments below, have you ever had any problems with spaces or pots or whatever you want to call it? There's a utopia out there that when you make a sale and you have that VAT, we'll have that VAT automatically when you receive it, go put into a different pot. That's the dream. That means you'll never get caught short of having that. And why stop at that? Why not automatically save for taxes? Why not automatically save for other bits? Making it so that your whole business is automated and giving you that peace of mind that you're never going to be caught short. Spaces, pots, whatever you want to call them, are a wonderful thing. But if you don't deal with them correctly in QuickBooks, you're going to give yourself a headache. So this video is all about making sure that that headache has gone completely. Hope it's helped you. Let me know below if there's anything else you would do or any other issues that you've had. My name's been Aaron Patrick. This video has been an absolute pleasure to do for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe and all that sort of stuff. Also, head over to the sister channel, Boffix, where we've been talking a lot of stuff lately about making sure that your business doesn't just survive, but thrives. Trust me if I say, if you subscribe to both of our channels, you're going to be in the best possible place for you and your business. My name's Aaron Patrick. As I've already said, this video has been a pleasure. I can't say enough. Thank you for each and every one for subbing, liking, watching, whatever it is. We love you all, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.